Now it's on, I think. Yeah.
Holy shit, he is flying.
What?
Uh, they're the Cadillac team's gonna run Kamui Kobayashi, who's like a god, for 2 hours and 48 minutes to the end of the race for Jimmy
Oh, on
Johnson's
the
team. And bro, he has got the freedom to push his. He's got a 51-second gap to the leader. He's got to make up in 2 hours. But if any, he's the fastest guy. Like,
okay, so if anyone can do it, he can.
yes,
Type
like
thing.
Kamui Kobayashi.
Nice. So mad. Had that fucking P10.
Yeah, I had to serve 2 5-second penalties because I had to sit behind Cozy double stacked while he served his. And then I had to do mine. And then they put inters on. And then I said, I hate this game. So I did the rest of the race on my wheel.
Oh, okay.
It was not a possibility of even scoring a point. But I didn't want to retire just in case.
Well, that's the thing. You never know. Like, there could have been another safety car.
Hmm.
So mad. Like, I had to close up. Like, I think it was lap 23 or 24 to 28. The gap was like 6-7 seconds to the Maverick, and he had a 3-second time penalty. I closed up on the last lap down to about 2.1. So I just had to coast to the end. But no. Exited the hairpin. Tiny bit too much gas. Spin it around.
Damn.
Oh, it's the way she goes. But I mean, I was dog shit in the wets. And dog shit in the inters. But now I'm in the booth, so hopefully there's a lot of changing conditions now.
I hope they have to race in the snow.
Yep, I hope every tier suffers the way I did.
Somehow Kamui Kobayashi is already 12 seconds behind the leader. What? People must have pit. It's crazy these cars can even last that long. Oh my god, the session's starting, Eric.
Oh, shit. Alright, well I got everything already ready, so good to go. I was just, thanks for the call out, because I was too busy
Yeah, I just looked
fucking
at
around on my phone.
I was watching IMSA.
Yeah. Alright, let's do this. Double, no, double tap. There we go. Titles ready, 720 standard, ISRL esports. Alright, I'm gonna go live. All right, we have arrived here in China for round 2 out of 16 for the Division 2 championship here at ISRL Esports. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Fallen Monkeys, back at it again, of course, with my co-commentator, ISRL Asunik, and I think we're going to have a very good race here as we're loading into the short qualifying session. So, Asunik, I just want to check in. Are you there with us here today?
Absolutely. How are we doing today?
Perfect. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Looks like we got a full grid set for today's race, so that's always good.
Yep, always great to see. And we're just loading into short qualifying, and I'm seeing some cloud cover. Looking at the screen a little bit more closely, I'm not seeing any rain, at least for the time being. But hopefully our in-house weatherman can give us an update, hopefully shortly, to get an idea of what we can expect, at least in terms of the weather. I know in the Division 3 championship we did see weather play a part, more so in the race than it did in qualifying, but we'll see if it's going to be a little bit of the same here in the Division 2 championship. But with 19 drivers on the grid, there's going to be a lot to look out for, as I'm already seeing some drivers heading out on the track. I think that's, that's Assassin, who's the ISRL Assassin, as he just changed his name recently. He's going to be the first driver out on the soft tires, so it's looking to be pretty dry. Now, I do ask this question every single week, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it again. Leading into this race in China and even into qualifying as we follow Assassin on his outlap, what are some things we should be looking out for here in qualifying, in the race, and just in general?
Well, Assassin all week showing tremendous pace as we saw him in Formula Fridays fighting at the top there with the Tier 1 guys. So look for him to just pretty much stamp this event, if barring any, of the normal circumstances in which you could see a Turn 1 incident and all that stuff. But look for the guys we normally see at the top fighting. It's been close at race 1. We got a little bit of taste of it, so interested to see how the grid shapes up for this one.
Yo, yeah, and I'm excited to see how it's going to shape up. And looking at the tire choice for a lot of these drivers coming out on their outlaps, it looks to be a little bit looking out for here. A little bit split down the grid. I'm seeing some medium tires. I'm seeing some soft tires. I mean, of course, early on in short qualifying, I guess that initial tire choice doesn't matter all that much. But assuming, of course, that we're going to see a dry race, do you think we expect to see some drivers start putting on the medium tires to start the race and maybe looking to do a medium, starting the race on the mediums and maybe going from there? Or do you think the strategy is mostly going to be get on the soft tires and just push at the beginning of the lap and then just roll with the strategy as it happens?
I think a lot of these guys are going to opt for the softs here, maybe setting bankers here on the mediums, but generally you can make the one-stop work with the hards. You just got to really eke those softs out there in the stint.
Yeah, I guess that is the case. I mean, I would think that would be the case. I mean, I always thought this was a one-stop, but I mean, we might see some two-stop depending on how the drivers feel about the tire wear, especially considering, at least from what I've heard, China is not the best track when it comes to conserving tires.
No.
I've heard... No, I mean, personally, I haven't run into that issue myself. I mean, I was able, well, in the Division 3 race, I was able to take the mediums 14 laps, so I guess that's about average. Well, no, okay, never mind, I'll take that back. Now looking at, considering the amount of laps, 15 laps on the mediums, then putting on the softs, which will definitely not go that far. But just a little bit of an update on the track. I've switched over to V-Mark now, as he's going to be the lead driver to set a lap time. Assassin cut the last corner just a little bit too much on the inside. You can cut it a lot, but I think Assassin just did it a little bit too much so he invalidated his lap that he was currently on. So I'm riding with the next driver here, V-Mark in the McLaren car, on the soft tires, and he's got about one corner to go. And on the onboard, let's take a look. So you can see right there, you can cut that corner a lot, a little bit more even than V-Mark did, but still a 1:30.055 is a pretty good time, I would say, to kick things off. Lorenzo setting a 1:32.2, so can definitely find some pace in Mivako, his teammate, setting a 1:32.8 on the medium tires. ODD Mats as well on the medium tires, setting a 1:32.3. So looking to see a lot of 132s.
Oh,
Expect
Assassin's
to see.
off.
Oh, he's off. Let's take a look, and where is he? Oh, yeah, he is off right there on the exit of turn 2, it appears. Gonna have to watch out as he gets back on track. Doing a good job just staying out of the driver's ways. As we're just finishing, we've got a Red Bull. Was that Dark? Yes, that was Dark. Coming around.
Ooh.
As I just noticed Vito set a 130.322 on the soft tires, and that puts him up into P2. But Mark still leading the way with that near 130 flat. But with 13 minutes to go in qualifying, not too many times on the board just yet, so expect to see these times fall, maybe even sometimes breaking into the 129s here in Division 2.
AJ
Wuhan
goes third, well, now fourth, but he's on the medium, so...
Yeah, but breaking into the 130s on the mediums, that's still a very impressive time, especially early on in this qualifying session. Considering that most of the 130s we're seeing are on the soft tires. So it looks as though AJ Wuhan's got the pace here today, at least early on. So I think another one of those drivers to keep an eye out come the race to maybe put the battle to Passassin, to Vito, even Irish Nude Potato, whose time isn't really representative of his pace, I don't think, that he's got currently on the board. Now Dark coming around the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Good enough for 7th. That's a 131.1. So mid-pack on the medium tires. So potentially right where he wants to be, I would think, given the tire selection and given, the pace here. Now here, let's take a look at Stewart. He's got a lap in. I think he invalidated his previous lap. It's looking to be a good lap this time around. Oh, who was that? Synchro going P5 there. Stewart going P10 on the medium tires with his second lap. Now let's take a look. Who else is on a lap right now? I think everyone is either...
I don't have the data up.
Here, it looks like he's got 2 laps on those mediums, not using any ERS, so I think he's probably on an in-lap, potentially just finished a lap. But with a 131.207, that's still a decent time and good enough for P9 so far. Now here, I'll jump back to, Cruz is just about finishing his outlap on the soft tires, so you know what, let's actually jump with the onboard, and let's ride on board with Cruz as he's just going to get ready to start his flying lap, approaching the start-finish straight now, just so we can get an idea of what kind of lines he's taken, see maybe where he's saving some time, where he maybe loses some time. He's on the quickest tire, and it looks like he's taking turn 1 pretty well. Lots of engine braking. You don't want to hit the brakes too much. Oh, went down to first there at the end of turn 1 into turn 2. I've always kept it in second myself, but it looks like it worked out for him pretty well.
Doesn't have a time to compare with for Sector 1, so... And it wasn't purple.
Nope, so not necessarily the quickest time, but of course with the with that near 130 flat that VMark said very early on, I think it might be a little bit difficult to get some purple times, potentially up until the track evolves a little bit more. And just speaking of the track, it looks as though the sun is starting to come out a little bit more now. There's a purple second sector for him, so very fast in Sector 2. So let's see if he can ride that momentum through Sector 3. Really just about 3 corners and a long back straight here for Sector 3. And it looks as though he handled, in my opinion, probably the trickiest corner section of the sector fairly well. Flying down the back straight. Now let's see what he's going to do with the hairpin. Cuts it very nicely, takes that nice line, get on the power, there we go. And now it's all down to the final corner. Can he keep it all together? He can push it a little bit more on the inside corner there, as I mentioned before, but still a 130.447, good enough for P3.
He's got a bit of time left out there that he can go and get. Cruz being a veteran of the Tier 2 or Division 2. There's some time he can go get.
Oh yeah, definitely some time to be found, but we'll see if he can find that time and put that lap together. I was just about to switch over to Krishna in the rental car, but he had just set his first lap. That's a 130.625. So another solid lap from the Renault driver puts him into 5, and right next to his teammate, who's got a 130.671. So it looks as though, once again, the Renault drivers very close in pace to one another as they're so far set out for a very good showing here to start
struggling.
the race. Let's see, struggling a little bit. He's on an outlap, so maybe not too much worry there. But, of course, down into 14th, and Mivako down in 13th as he's gotten validation on his outlap. But expect to see a bit more pace from the Ferrari drivers here, I would think. Mivako, of course, I won't say the defending Division 3 championship, as he's not in Division 3 anymore, but he is still a champion in Division 3, so he's got some pace. Now it's a matter of, as I've said before, whether or not he can put it all together for the lap here in qualifying and keep that consistency with the race. Let's take a look. It looks like he's going to be starting his flying lap now. Didn't cut too much on the last corner, so it's going to be a good lap to start things off. So let's see if he can improve on that P13 and bring himself up into a bit more of a favorable qualifying position with already only 7.5 minutes to go in qualifying. So once again, it's just flying by, I feel.
Vito up 6/100ths on it, and he's backed out of the lap. Well, he was up on his lap, but he's chosen not to continue with it. All right.
Oh, maybe keeping a little bit of. Maybe he's happy with where he is in that P2, and maybe keeping a little bit of pace in his back pocket, not wanting to show all of his cards right from the get-go. But of course, it's Vito we're talking about here. I think everybody on the grid knows Vito's got the pace to get the win, get pole position. So I'm actually not too sure what that strategy was there, unless he's looking to conserve tires for the race.
I think Mivako's finally going to get a good lap in here.
Yep, looking like it. I did see some purple sectors, I believe, as I was watching through. He's going down the back straight now, taking the hairpin fairly nicely. It looks like not going too deep, not going well, not deep enough. He's got a nice exit here. I didn't quite get to see how he took the final corner because I didn't get the best camera angle for it. But as he crosses the line up into P2, there it is. Yep, a 1:30.160, and that's the Mivako that I've become a bit more accustomed to seeing over the last season and a bit now.
Irish New Potato about to end. Never mind. As I say,
yep.
All right, so it looks like Lorenzo is about to finish his hot lap.
Yep, I switched over to him, Mivako's teammate in the Ferrari car. Let's see, he's got a 1:32.2 on the board, so expect him to go much faster than that this time around on the soft tires. And only good enough for 16th, that's a 1:31.809. So definitely some more time that was left on the track that I'm sure he can potentially find. And he should have enough time to get around the circuit and get one last lap in before the end of this qualifying session. Now here comes Stewart in the Mercedes looking to finish a lap time. There he goes. That's a 1:30.8, good enough for P9. So on the soft tires, putting himself mid-pack in pretty decent qualifying position, I would say. And puts himself in a nice position to come the race start, assuming this doesn't change. Now I'll switch over to Jordan now, as it looks like he's on a lap.
Psych.
Never mind. Psych. Once again, diving into the pits. So now the AlphaTauri drivers sitting in 15th and 18th. I know you're not. I know Sunik, you're probably not too happy with that qualifying, those qualifying positionings, at least for the time being. Given the shared constructors championship we've got going on. But they still got some time to get a fresh set of tires on, get that one last lap in when it counts. I know Jordan's got the pace. Irish New Potato, he's shown he's got the pace around just about any circuit. It's just a matter of if he's got it here today. And I switched over to Passassin, as he's the only driver to not have a lap time just yet. But he's got another invalidation. So once again, pushing those track limits just a little bit too much, trying to eke out the best possible lap time. But of course, when you're pushing the track limits like these drivers like to do, sometimes, well, the track bites back.
Absolutely.
And what we're seeing. But he's on the medium tires, so potentially, there we go, bumps the ERS up to 2, takes that last corner, cuts it very nicely, and I think at least for now he's going to be on a decent lap to start it off. Now it's just a matter of whether or not he can put it together. And crucially, choosing to put on the medium tires here for his lap near the end of the session. So going maybe trying that little bit of an alternate strategy, as I don't think he's going to have enough time now to get a set of softs on and get another lap in.
Real DC down 1.5 tenths on his time. He sets a purple sector 2. Not sure if it's a glitch, but he'll be the next one to set a time across the line. Followed by, I believe that's Vito, who's right behind him, but he's actually backed out of his lap again.
Yeah, so let's actually switch over to the real DC as he's coming down the back straight now. Currently sitting in 7th, looking to at least out-qualify his teammate here, but realistically probably looking for more than just out-qualifying his teammate. As he comes through the hairpin, he's got a corner to go. Can he keep it together here? Looking pretty good. Doesn't go too wide as we see so often, and there we go. It's a 130.519. So just switches places with his teammate as he's up into 6th, and Krishna falls down into 7th. Now Vito, yep, it looks like he's going very slow. Is he gonna go for a lap?
Yep.
I think now he's gonna be going for a lap. So we'll jump back to
Assassin.
just a moment. Yep, I was just going to say I'm going to switch over. Woohoo, cut it very close on that final corner exit.
Oh.
And only good enough for 15th for ISR Alpha Assassin. That's a 131.243. So potentially that strategy of trying to qualify on the medium tires maybe not working out for him as much as he was hoping for. But he's got the ERS on still, so maybe now he's going to be pushing a bit more of a lap. As, oh no, Krishna left the session. Hopefully he can get back in.
Vito, fastest Sector 1.
Alright, so let's actually ride with Vito with that fastest Sector 1. He's coming up to some traffic now here in Sector 2, so hopefully that doesn't affect him too much, as now he's approaching the end of Sector 2. It's another fastest sector for Vito, so it looks like it's going to be a very good lap. But now with lots of drivers here down this back straight, Vito on a flying lap. Let's see, is this going to pay to his advantage? So we've got the first driver, Cohen, getting out of the way. You love to see that. We've got another driver ahead. You can see him warming up the tires.
It's Mivako.
So it's a matter... Yep, that's Mivako. So we'll see, can he get through the hairpin quick enough? It looks like that is the case. But now if you're Mivako, seeing Vito on that flying lap, you might want to pick it up just a little bit so you're not impeding his lap while losing out on the run for your lap. And this might actually help Vito, as there we go. A 129.948, so just barely breaks into the 129s, the first driver to do so, and he's now taken pole position away from VMark with 30 seconds to go. But speaking of VMark, he just set a purple first sector himself on the soft tires, so let's actually ride with him, as we'll see if he can keep this lap together and take that pole position right back. But hang on, Nathan JB sets a 129.446, and he takes pole now away from Vito with 5 seconds to go. So right at the end of qualifying, I don't think Vito's going to do another lap.
Potato P2.
There we go, P2. So now all these 3 drivers now right at the end breaking into the 129s, and it's actually a very close gap between Irish New Potato and Vito. That's a 941 to Vito's 948. So practically identical laps for the Red Bull sister teams there, as they're sitting in a very nice P2, P3. But let's see what VMark's going to do now, as he's got about a corner to go.
AJ Wuhan P2, there it is.
Yep, so Williams 1-2. Can Mark do anything about it? And there we go, not quick enough for pole, but it looks like it is going to be a front row start for him, barring any other changes, as that's a 129.7 that he set. Mivako crosses on, and he takes P2 with a 129.5. So it's all switching over here, and now Vito, as definitely not on the lap now, as he's not using an ERS, saw his potential pole position fall all the way down to 6, as he's going very slow, trying to let the other driver through there, and I think they're both on in laps now. Yep, that is the case. But let's see, was that? Yeah, that was Cohen who invalidated right at the end, the worst possible time to do it for him. So he's gonna have to settle for a P14.
That's
But
it.
yeah, that's the end of qualifying. So it looks like Nathan JB gonna be starting on pole. Mivako for the Ferrari team starting P2 with VMark showing a strong qualifying all around, getting that P3. As it looks like the AI is having a little bit of fun with itself down the back straight, as there's a little bit of wing damage that was taken there. And I think for now we're just waiting on.
Oh my
Irish
goodness. Jordan's car is absolutely just dismantled there.
Yep.
Driver's avoiding action.
Yep, and that's. I mean, you hate to see it, but also you know full well it's just the AI that's taking control of the car and not really. I don't think the AI is really sure what it wants to be doing here. It's just lugging the drivers around the circuit. But that's the end of qualifying, and honestly, I feel like we just started qualifying like 5 minutes ago when we're already near the end of it.
Yeah,
but
it's a good session. You see the gaps between the top 10.
But definitely, just as we're finishing up qualifying, one of the, I guess one of the big obvious talking points, just going back to the start of the session, Bassassin only down in 13th. So not even a top 10 qualifying showing for Bassassin. So he's going to have a lot of work cut out for him come the race if he wants any chance at a podium.
He couldn't string a lap together without making critical mistakes and validations, but he does have free tire choice, so this could help him.
Oh yeah,
he could take a medium and push it, and still be able to just get to those softs and make it to the end.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that, but as we're counting down, it's Nathan JB starting on pole, Mivako in second, VMark in third, AJ Wuhan in fourth, Irish New Tomato rounding up the top five after qualifying, Vito in sixth, Laparka in seventh, Stewart in eighth, Cruz in ninth, the real DC, rounding out the top 10 with Prix 911, Synchro, Bassassin, Cohen, and Dark in running up the 13, and D-Morts, Jordan, Lorenzo, and Matt gonna have their work cut out for them, starting 16th to 19th on the grid. But of course, it's just qualifying. At the end of the day, the points, not really any points given out for qualifying here, but now as we're loading into the race, we're gonna have, I believe, if I recall correctly, 28 laps around the circuit, and it looks to be nice and sunny. So no wet weather to throw a wrench into things, at least for the start of the session. But this has shown, or the game and this track has shown, that weather can show up at any time. Now, I just want to pull up the stream and see if we got
nothing.
Got any
just Joran Visser and Mivako.
Nope. No update on the weather from what I can see.
Yeah, it's just Joran Visser and Mivako talking about Bassassin's lap. He was 1.4 seconds off pole, but he did it on medium tires, so he's impressed the other league guys with that lap.
Oh yeah, definitely the case. But now, as we've got the just a little bit of a breather, waiting for Jordan to give the cue to go. For everyone tuning in, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. This is the ISRL Division 2 Championship, round 2 out of 16 here at the Chinese Grand Prix, and I hope you're as excited for the race as I am, and as I'm sure Sunik you probably are as well. As it looks like we are going to be kicking things off. I do hope that was Jordan that gave the cue to kick things off, as I was looking elsewhere and didn't quite get to see the little check marks there.
I believe it was, but that's the power of seeing the stream.
Yep, definitely the power of. We can take a look back on the stream, and but before we kick off the race, we've got that formation lap. So, as I'm just going to get a little bit of the tire detail on here, and there we go. So, Nathan JB starting on pole, as we said, with Mivako getting the front row start alongside him. VMark in third, AJ Wuhan in fourth. So another strong showing from the Williams team, and we'll see if they can turn this into another strong race showing. Irish Nude Potato rounding out the top 5 for the lead AlphaTauri driver, with Vito down into 6th as the lead Red Bull driver. Laparta in 7th, with the 2 Mercedes of Stewart and Cruz qualifying in 8th and 9th respectively. Then we've got the 2 Renault drivers of the Real DC and Krishna, who's P10 and 11, with Synchro in 12th, and then Passassin and Cohen as, oh my goodness, looks like a Mercedes had a little bit of trouble here on the formation lap. I'm not sure if that was Stewart, not maybe losing out, trying to warm up the tires a little bit too much here. But Passassin and Cohen in 13th and 14th, so the Alfa Romeos, at least they're going to be starting together for the start of the grid. Now, actually looking at the tires, I've got Krishna, Synchro, and Passassin putting on the mediums to start the race, and then Cohen, Dark,
What's up?
and Jordan, and even Lorenzo.
I honestly haven't looked at my phone in like an hour and a half.
So we're
I can't do that right now, Sarah. I'm commentating.
with the mats at the back of the grid
I didn't.
on the medium tires.
Alright, Sarah, please don't.
Kick things off. So a lot of interesting strategy calls here, especially from the drivers with free tire choice. Given a few medium tire runners, maybe looking to do mediums to well, I would say mediums to softs.
Yeah, it's a bit of
Maybe
a rainbow, but
2-stop.
if there's an early safety car, these hard runners are just kind of left.
Yeah, I think.
With nothing.
I mean, if you're sorry, go on ahead.
They're like left with nothing if we have an early safety car and the rest of the leaders pit off those. They're just going to go to the mediums and play in a 2-stop because of the safety car, and then those hard tires. Just, I mean, you could be fast at the end, but you're going to have to pray for multiple safety cars, and you don't want that.
Well, that's the thing, and I think if you've got an early safety car on the hard tires, I think honestly the best strategy is just keep with your initial strategy call, if I'm being quite honest. Because if you get the early safety car, then you're kind of putting yourself at a bit of a disadvantage by going into the pits. But of course, we're speculating here, and as the drivers line back up on the grid, we are just about ready to kick off the race here for 28 laps around the Chinese Grand Prix. We've got 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights as jump starts here, as the lights finally now go off, as it looks as though Mivako getting a very nice start. And look at the start Vito's getting, as he's already overtaken 2 cars to go up into 3rd, but it's Nathan JB still leading the way, Mivako right behind. But looking at this now, Vito and AJ going side by side, and it's Vimar and Laparta going side by side here. Lots of battle for position early on, as it looks as though for this battle here, it's still going to be, oh no, Vito did overtake AJ to go up into 3rd, so AJ falling down into 4th. Laparta, oh my goodness, almost a spin from Laparta, but it looks like he was able, but losing out on that P5, falling down into 6th. But now, oh my goodness, losing track here. We've got Irish Nude Potato right up into the back of Stewart. Oh my goodness, they almost went 3 wide there, the 2 Mercedes and the AlphaTauri driver. But thankfully they kept it close. But it looks they're still going side by side. But was that Cruz that went a little bit wide on the exit of that corner? But I want to go further down as the Real DC and Synchro are battling it out. And it looks as though there's AlphaTauri there. Oh, and that Synchro that was just stuck in very bad spots. Stuck between 2 drivers and unfortunately got the worst of it. But going back to the race as they're flying down the back straight, it looks like that's Stewart trying to break the toe on Irish New Potato, but Irish New Potato having none of that. But Passassin up into 10th, but being pressured by the Real DC here early on lap 1 as Passassin's trying to work his way up the order. And Matt's already up 5 positions, I'm seeing a little bit further down, up into 15th from starting in last. But now the timing table's just being a little bit buggy, as already we're seeing some drivers going into the pits.
Vito with wing damage.
And Matt's took some wing damage early on, so not what they were hoping for to start the race, but still.
Matt's drive-through.
Oh, that's all right. The jump starts as they were a little bit too anxious on the start of the race. But no, that's not what they were hoping for. As I'm just waiting for my timetables to get back to normal. But let's actually jump back to the leaders here. That's Wow, look at this. Nathan JB already with a 2.5 second gap to Mivako, as Mivako I think is having to worry more about the driver behind, which is Nathan's teammate AJ Wuhan, who's putting the pressure on the Ferrari drivers. So a little bit of a team game early on, I think, from the Williams team. Maybe a little bit of coordination. AJ saying, Nathan, just focus on what's ahead. I'll put pressure on Mivako and let you drive the race you want to drive. But let's take a look now. AJ closing up the gap really nicely. We've got a bit of a nice battle here. They're going side by side as there's a yellow flag. So I think that's Lorenzo having a little bit of trouble on the exit down into the back straight. Oh my goodness, what happened there? That was Irish Dude Potato, who was battling it out with Laparta. I think he took a little bit of wing damage over the course of that, but nothing too hectic, as he's going to be continuing on the race with that broken end plate. But we might be losing a little bit of pace here. But I want to quickly take a look. Passassin overtaking Stewart to go up into 8th now. So Passassin flying on those medium tires. And now looking to make a push on Cruz to go up into 7th and start to work his way back up the grid. But what a showing early on here from Passassin, keeping it clean, working his way up the grid, and on those medium tires, putting himself into a very good spot here early on to get that good strategy call working for him.
Yeah, Lorenzo finishing. He had to serve a drive-through as well, so he's coming out.
Yep, so for Lorenzo, not the race he was hoping for, having to serve that drive-through and being pressured now by Krishna, who's right behind him as they're
Irish
battling for the...
He's going to be a sitting duck here on the back, especially with Passassin, who's going around the outside.
Oh my goodness, look at that, as we just saw that on the screen. Let's switch over to that battle. It's still battling it out here as, oh my goodness, it's a sight to see as they are going side by side through the entirety of that swooping right-hander. And it looks as though Passassin just has a little bit more pace on the exit, taking that wider line. Oh wow, lots of movement there. Assassin, a very late call defending down the inside, but thankfully Cruz reacted very well, so no incidents here. But that's Nude Potato now diving into the pits, I believe, with Stewart following suit. But hang on, V-Mark and Laparta a little bit further up. V-Mark thinking about going around the outside, switches back to the inside. Much better for him, as it looks as though he is going to get that move. Oh, there's contact between the two drivers, and I think that's Laparta going wide and has to watch out now as Passassin gets a free overtake up into 5th, and Cruz gets a free overtake up into 6th. So I don't think there was anything wrong with that, to be quite honest. From the view I had, as it looked as though they were just battling hard and just leaving, just maybe not leaving enough room there. But
yeah, Laparta just trying to dive back down the inside to do the switchback, but I believe, who was that? Sorry, V-Mark just defended the position and incidental contact. Lucky to stay out of a wall and out of each other's way, but Passassin and Cruz just free real estate at that point, just moving up.
Yep, but thankfully for Laparta, other than just potentially the grass on the tires, there's no wing damage or anything that he took, so he can just continue on, and it looks as though now he's going to be able to continue on his way. I think the tire temperature has kind of cooled off a little bit now, as going down this back straight, and he's already closing right back up to Cruz. But hang on, we've got a little bit of a position switch. I think that was just D-Morts and Synchro. Synchro maybe having a little bit more pace than D-Morts here around the circuit as they're just switching positions. But V-Mark going into the pits. AJ Wuhan going into the pits here on lap 5. So it looks as though they're planning on getting off of the soft tires as the rest are continuing on. But oh my goodness, just with this position change, 5 laps into the race, Passassin up 10 positions, and looking at a podium place here early on, and can take those medium tires much longer than the drivers ahead, which are Mivako and Nathan, who, well, Nathan JB just driving his own race now, the gap up to 6 seconds now between him and Mivako.
Mivako dealing with an overheating. You can see on his onboard an overheating left rear. He's just nursing that car, and Assassin's just eating away at that gap.
Oh yeah, yeah. So crucially, it looks as though the strategy of qualifying mid-pack and putting on those medium tires has paid dividends for Assassin here early on in the race, especially as he was able to keep it clean through the start of the race. As already we can see lots of drivers having to take early pit stops. But but now as I switch over to the tires now, we've got P1, P2, and there we go. Assassin overtaking down the back straight, Mivako up into second, but now he's got his work cut out for him, and he's gonna have to close 6 seconds trying to catch up to Nathan JB. But actually, Nathan going into the pits himself here on the end of lap 5, starting lap 6.
Yeah, that pit window is more than open at this point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all the soft tire runners going onto the pits, and realistically, if you're pitting this early, do you think you go for a one stop on the hards, or do you slap on a set of medium tires and just commit to the 2-stop?
Well, they would be absolutely swallowed up by Assassin, because like I said at the beginning of the race with the hard runners, Assassin's in a beautiful spot because he can essentially just beat the crap out of those tires and still be able to jump onto the hard tires, because he's going to have pace when those softs dropped off, and he's going to have pace over the guys on the hards right now. So this is literally all Assassin's race. He just has to nail this stint, get onto those hards, and just eke him out to the end.
Yep, now just some battles here on track as AJ Wuhan and Cohen going side by side, but AJ Wuhan, he chose to put on the medium tires, so he's got a little bit more pace early on here. Mivako and Stewart were battling it out, but Mivako did get the better of Stewart on that battle, as we saw not too long ago, and Mivako chose to put on the hard tires, so a little bit of a split strategy for these drivers getting off of the soft tires early on. Some putting on the medium tires, some putting on the hard tires. So we're seeing, honestly, just a whole bunch of different strategy calls here. As now we've got Nathan JB trying to work his way back up the grid. Going side by side now down the straight of Demorts, it looks like, as it looks like he is able to get that overtake done before the hairpin corner here, and he will keep that P5. But now he's got to catch up to Demorts' teammate, Synchro, that can potentially work to Demorts' advantage, as we might see some team... But no, never mind, as Demorts does dive into the pits very early on in his hard tire stint to get off of those hard tires. And, ooh, a little bit of contact there, it looked like, between Nathan and Synchro going into turn 1. But Nathan, just with the elbows out, just forces his way past Synchro to get that P4, and I mean, I think with good reason, as already looking at the gaps, Assassin to Jordan, it's nearly a 7-second gap now. So Assassin kind of running away with the lead here and trying to close.
Oh no, Matt's just holding up V-Mark here. Matt's on 6-lap-old tires. V-Mark's already pit. Just needs to get by him.
That's the thing. You'd hope that you'd have your race engineer going into the radio saying you're on 2 different races here. Let the quicker driver by to not impede Mark as he's trying to close the pace back up. But if he's stuck battling with his teammate, that's not what he wants to have in terms of the tire wear and in terms of the pace. Because now they have to watch out for Mivako, who's also on the hard tires, and looking to get involved with that battle as well. But here down this back straight, are we going to see the change of position now between Mark and Mats? It looks as though it is going to be the case, but I don't think Mats is going to make it too. Well, actually, no. Now he does make it maybe a little bit easy. But look at that. That actually opens the door for Mivako to get a bit of a better line on those hard tires. As now they're going. Well, they were going side by side, but now it looks as though Mats is going to hold on to that P9. So now is Mats going to be able to hold up Mivako into turn 1? It looks like he is doing a good job of it, but no, goes a little bit wide. And now between Mivako and Mats, they're going side by side, and that's Mivako overtaking Mats very quickly to continue on that chase with V-Mark. So maybe that hindered V-Mark a little bit more than it helped him, at least in terms of battling it out with Mats, with his teammate, as you were mentioning. But they're going to continue on now.
While you were focusing on that, Synchro and AJ Wuhan have been battling it out. Synchro let the first Williams by. It's not going to be so easy for the second one.
Oh no, so actually
Oh, and
let's take a look back.
Synchro is
Ooh!
all sorts of sideways.
Yeah, very, very close there for Synchro, as thankfully he's able to keep it, and crucially didn't lose out on too much time to AJ Wuhan, as I think AJ was just in the middle of that corner as well, so maybe letting off just that tiny little bit so he doesn't run right into Synchro. As Cruz now overtake Mats as elsewhere on the track, and we can see AJ now going to the outside as Synchro defends down the inside. But now with loads of room to go, oh, actually it's a little bit closer than I thought, as Synchro takes that inside line on the hairpin, as they're going side by side now here, but I think AJ just has a little bit better traction than Synchro, as he is able to get that move to stick and moves up into P5. Now we've got a yellow flag, and who is that? I think that's D-Morts.
Yeah, he's had enough.
Yep, had enough on the exit leading up to the back straight. That corner is very crucial for that, as I've seen so often in practice through the race, and it's taken another victim. But back to the action here, we've got Cohen very close to Mark now in this battle, and actually I just noticed, I thought Mivako and Mark were one behind another, but it looks as though Cohen's now gotten involved with this battle here.
I believe they have caught and passed Cohen. He's been on those hards since the beginning of the race, so.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the clarification there. That makes a little bit more sense now, as I'm going to have to make that switch of a thought now with Mivako having to make a rush to overtake Cohen if he wants to try to keep up with Mark and keep up pace with him. Now, Dark and Jordan are very close to one another. They're both on the hard tires for 8 laps. But now this gap between Dark and Passassin up to 9 seconds. Passassin continuing on here on lap 9, leading into lap 10 on the medium tires, as I expect him to. And as we were saying earlier, it's really now Passassin's race to lose.
Well, he is only 16 seconds ahead of Nathan JB, who he would be battling for the lead. So not quite a pit stop ahead.
No, but I mean, with the pace Passassin has, the question is more, is this gap growing, or is Nathan JB doing a good job of closing that gap? As now Cohen and Cruz are going side by side into turn 1. Cruz gets the overtake done, but has to go a little bit deep, which opens the door for Cohen to go down the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of contact with the Ferrari of Mivako there, as they had to be cautious, both of them. A little bit of a wiggle for Cohen on the exit of turn 2, as now it looked as though they're going side by side still. Cruz trying to go around the outside of the first of 2 hairpins here. Is he gonna get enough traction? It looks as though he will keep that position. Cohen falling down into 10th, as those hard tires not working out for him the way he was maybe hoping for, as Cruz overtook him on the medium tires that are a much fresher, much quicker tire. But now he's got to try to close up the gap to Mivako, who's on 3-lap-old hard tires.
Matt's looking to get involved with Cohen.
Yep,
Stewart right behind. Cohen is really struggling for traction.
Yeah, so I think Cohen might not really feeling those hard tires as much as he was hoping for, struggling to get that traction, to get that grip, as now you can see Cohen so close to Mats, but actually had to hold up just a tiny little bit, as looking right behind that Stewart and Vito. Wow, what a launch by Stewart into that corner.
Look at Vito.
Saw the opportunity, as Cohen really struggling for pace now, as Vito overtakes him as well, and Cohen's still staying out, but for how long now, as those hard tires are struggling for heat, struggling for grip, and Cohen's just falling down the order now, as he's seeing lots of drivers overtake him. And honestly, I think if you're Cohen, you might just want to bite the bullet, maybe go into the pits, maybe put on a fresh set of boots and just try to push as much as you can. As
and there he goes.
No, actually, never mind, as Cohen
he's hard
loses
in the
it on
wall.
the exit of turn 2. Yep, hard in the wall, as you said. Will this bring out a safety car here?
I don't think it will.
I don't think so. Realistically, we probably would have seen it by now, so I think it's just going to be a yellow flag, as I don't think there was too many drivers involved in that well, involved in that incident. But now we've got Cruz closing up. Nope, the car disappears. It gets towed off of the circuit, and we will continue on racing without the safety car, to the content and or dismay of drivers on the track, depending on where you are position-wise. But now, oh, Passassin is in the pits. So, here we go. Let's actually jump to Nathan as he's just coming around the hairpin. Did Passassin close up? Did Passassin make enough of a gap? He's got the pit stop done. Exiting the pits. It's gonna be close now, I think. Oh no, actually no. Actually, it's not as close as I thought. There we go. Nathan JB does get the overtake done. So in the net lead of the race still is Nathan JB, and that's his teammate AJ Wuhan who overtook Passassin as well, as he's just now back on track ahead of V-Mark. And Passassin opting for a medium to hards to the end, as now he's well, he's not going to have to make another pit stop, but it's a question of whether or not Nathan JB is going to have to make another pit stop. Yeah, AJ definitely will on the medium tires.
Passassin's hards though are going to be fresh, way fresher than Nathan's, who's already got 5 laps on it. So as long as he can break down this gap.
Ooh, sorry, there's Mivako and Cruz are battling it out on track. There was a tiny little bit of wheel touching between the two drivers through that, right around where that number 2 is to indicate sector 2. But other than a little bit of a wobble, they both continue on with the battle. But Mivako still staying very, very close.
Ooh, huge lockup from Mivako.
Oh, yeah, it goes very deep there. And we can see that gap now all the way up to a second. But with the pace Mivako has, he's closing it right back up to under a second. But I think maybe losing that braking point was all Cruz needed to make sure that Mivako doesn't have DRS going down this long back straight.
Yeah, Passassin already gaining on the back of AJ Wuhan within DRS zone, striking distance. So he's in a net podium as it stands.
Yep, so yeah, looking still like a good race. As Stewart going into the pits, as Vito and Nude Potato gain a few free positions from that. But let's take a look at Passassin. Let's jump on board with them quickly as he's closing up to CRL AJ Wuhan there for that well, right now in the race P4, but I'm thinking that's probably going to be a net P2 once the likes of Dark and Jordan take their pit stops. But already we can see Nathan JB growing a gap to his teammate, as I think AJ doing a good job of holding up Assassin just a tiny little bit here to allow that gap to be formed. But they're gonna have to watch out, as now Nathan is catching up to Jordan and Dark, who's they're both on the hard tires, running different strategies. But I don't expect Jordan and Dark to give up that position without a fight, because they are still battling for position on the track here. But going down the back straight is Passassin and AJ. AJ tries to cut off the toe, but Passassin's having none of it. Passassin looking to make a move down the outside, and I think with the help of DRS, yep, he is able to slot right in front of AJ Wuhan to take that P4 on track, and now to try to close up that gap on Nathan JB, who's in third still, closing up to Jordan and Dark, as I said. But now Passassin's going to want to get involved as he sets a fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 124.0, I think it was. But either way, it's the fastest lap for Passassin.
It was a 134. It was a 134, not 124. I was like, when you said 124, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, the 134. Sunik on the ball as usual. You love to see it here. Correcting my mistakes here as I'm just rolling with the punches here. As
my apologies.
No worries. Honestly, please. If I mess up like that, that's I want that correction. Can't be giving out misinformation to everybody watching at home.
Well, I didn't have the telemetry up because I had it in there was nothing on screen. So when you said 124, I was scrambling to press buttons. I was like, excuse me, but all right,
no,
yeah.
I just saw it pop up in the here in the bottom of the screen as it normally does. But for those who may know a thing about me, I've got a little bit of a goldfish memory sometimes, as that's a prime example right there. But
Now,
hang
if you're
on.
Nathan JB, you would have wanted your teammate to maybe hold up Assassin that much more, because Assassin made it easy. He got right to the back of AJ Wuhan and got the overtake done. Nope, like, there was no questions about it. You would have liked to have seen AJ Wuhan kind of... You see Nathan JB is going to be potential net lead here after the cycle of pit stops. Might want to see AJ Wuhan just fight Assassin a little bit harder there.
Yeah, but we can see that AJ's keeping the gap to right around 0.8 of a second, but floating right around 7 to 0.8. And now it looks as though it's maybe closing up a little bit, but I think crucially it's just Assassin having that much more pace, it feels, rather than AJ on that fresher set of hard tires. Because of course the medium tires can only go maybe a maximum of 15 laps, and that's assuming you did a good job with the tire wear. And already AJ's medium tires, they're 9 laps old, going on lap 10 now, so it could just be an issue of the tires not being there for AJ to get that battle. Is now crucially the gap's up to just over 1 second.
Yeah, and he's brought the gap down from Nathan JB down 0.6 just in the first 2 sectors. But Nathan JB got DRS on Jordan. That's,
yeah, so
done and dusted.
very easy overtake there for Nathan JB. As Jordan... What was that?
Oh, it's Jordan, I believe, is heading into the pit right here.
Yeah, I'm thinking potentially... Oh no, continuing on for another lap. I think maybe looking for a hard to soft strategy, but maybe now going to be hoping to use the faster paced Nathan JB for a little bit of a tow around the circuit with these straights here, so as long as he can keep up with them. But already through the corners we can see the type of pace Nathan has over the likes of Jordan here on those much more used hard tires.
Yeah, Assassin's got it down to 2.7. He's coming. He'll be there within the next 5 laps. He'll be right on the back of Nathan JB.
Oh yeah, and I'm honestly I'm excited to see it play out once it does come. Now I want to switch over to another battle a little bit further down on track here. It looks as though Stewart and Mats, they're both on a similar set of hard tires. They're battling it out for P15, but of course with the way the point system works, that's points. So they're still battling it out for points here. As much as it's, well, a point's a point. You want to get points because of course the more points you have, the better finish you're gonna get here at the end of the season. And especially with how close the grid is here, every point matters. As now there's keeping close, but I don't think there's any moves going to be done here, at least in this section of the circuit. Maybe down the back straight, but of course right up ahead you have Synchro and Krishna that are getting very close to one another. Synchro does lock up a tiny little bit going into the sharp left-hand turn there, but now going around the swooping right, who's going to have the better pace? I think it might actually just be Synchro, just given the fresher set of hard tires that he has. As now V-Mark going into the pits, getting off of those medium tires after 11 laps. So we'll see what he's going to be putting on to try to get to the end. And it's another set of medium tires. So he took his final pit stop going to the end of the race now on those medium tires. But now, oh my goodness, Assassin down to just around a second to behind Jordan. So I think it's just a matter of time before Assassin does overtake Jordan to try to keep closing up on that gap to Nathan JB. But crucially now, Dark is still leading the way with those 16-lap-old hard tires. He will need to take a pit stop, but it's still a strong showing from the Red Bull driver to hold on to that lead. And honestly, I was expecting Nathan to eat up Dark alive with the pace that he's been showing.
Well, this is a classic Dark race. He opts for the harder compound and just really is patient throughout the race and just gets the job done.
Yeah, but oh, hang on, look at this. Assassin way up close. We can see him making a move down the inside of Jordan, and it looks as though, yep, that move was, oh my goodness, come on camera, please. It looks as though that move was done relatively easily for Passassin, as they are driving just 2 different races there. So now the gap between Nathan JB and Passassin, 2.6 seconds, floating right around 2.6, 2.7. But for how long is that going to be? Is Passassin still pushing to close up the gap with now 10 laps to go already here in this Grand Prix, with Dark leading the way. But now Nathan JB's closed that gap down to under a second, so we'll have DRS if he's able to keep that gap to under a second, assuming he doesn't overtake Dark before, but not really too many overtaking positions other than that long back straight and the start-finish straight going into turn 1. But of course, the drivers have surprised me in the past, so what I've learned here is expect the unexpected, especially when we get down to crunch time here with these last 10 laps here to go in this Grand Prix.
Hopefully Assassin's gonna want Dark to put up a huge fight against Nathan.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what Assassin's hoping for, but I don't know if Dark is going to do so, just given, like I said, the racing completely different strategies, so that might be, Dark might be losing more time than he'd be gaining if he is trying to fight Nathan JB for too long. But he is able to stay ahead of him for at least this lap, and Dark is continuing on for one more lap. So now let's switch over to this battle for the lead here on lap 19. It's still Dark leading the way. The gap is staying to right around 0.6 seconds, it seems. So Dark doing a good job of just managing that gap and not allowing Nathan JB to overtake too quickly.
Assassin, crucially though, not gaining a lot of time on Nathan. It's just stayed at 2.6. He's got to get going here.
Yeah, looking at that, I thought Assassin would have closed the gap a little bit more. I'm not too sure if maybe he's conserving a little bit of tire, doing a little bit of tire management, doing a little bit of ERS management, but now it's down to 2.4, as I think now Assassin's starting to maybe get a tiny little bit more pace.
Did I just see rain? It's raining. Oh. Expect the unexpected,
oh
Eric.
Yep. And look at that. I switched over to the onboard. Lap 19 out of 28. We have rain.
Has Dark played a masterclass strategy here?
He might have, but that's assuming those hard tires can last long enough, and that's assuming the rain is going to fall hard enough to allow. But look at this now. Looking at the screen, it looks as though the rain is starting to come down very quickly as Nathan JB finally now gets the overtake, but oh wait, hang on. I think they're still battling it out, but no, Nathan is able to get the overtake done. But are we going to see Dark dive into the pits here on this lap? No, he's staying out. So I think Dark is running that masterclass strategy, hoping to just ride those hard tires all the way to the changeover period, similar to what Jordan's doing. Now Mivako and Cruz going side by side into the final corner. Cruz does keep that position. AJ Wuhan overtaking Jordan on circuit right far ahead, but now Mivako is still trying to close up, but with Cruz having DRS, I don't think that's going to happen. Loads of moves on circuit happening at the same time there, and but oh my goodness, I was not expecting rain here at all, but here we are. So how is this going to play out come the end of the races? Already it looks as though the track is starting to get pretty wet very quickly here. As we can see, we're going from no rain on the screen to now, as I'm looking at the onboard of Dark, we can
Nathan JB struggling. And who's that around? Is that Lorenzo? He's at a moment. Nathan JB almost lost it down there.
Oh my goodness. And look at how close Dark is now. And already, if we look at the pit stop, you can see that a lot of these drivers that have opted to go take a pit stop here on lap 20. So did Dark just finesse his way into a possible podium here?
Absolutely.
With the bold strategy call? As I think now we might see all of these, all the top 10 here dive into the pits and put on the intermediate tires, depending on. Oh, look at that! Oh my goodness. Dark going way deep. Oh,
Ooh.
and there's a little bit of contact with Passassin, and Passassin, but they're both struggling there on the exit of the hairpin, and now they're both going into the pits. But now I think Passassin going deep, but with the entrance here into the pit stop, I think they can close up enough. Dark going a little bit more cautious as he doesn't want to.
Matt struggling coming around the final corner to the straight here. A lot of these drivers struggling.
Yeah, but I think he will be diving into the pits as crucially. Yep, look at that. Nathan JB putting on the inters. Assassin putting on the inters. Dark on the inters. And I think all these drivers are going to be putting on the intermediate tires. So here we go. We're going to see some wet weather racing for the last 7 laps here of the Grand Prix. And it's all kicked off here right at the end. As now...
Oh, we've had enough. It's Stewart.
Oh.
Yeah. The track is completely evolved, and he's been left out to dry.
Yep, stuck on those mediums, and crucially, Irish Nude Potato also put on a fresh set of medium tires, and he's struggling, falling down the order. As that was not a bold strategy. That was a bit of a bold strategy call that did not play out for Irish Nude Potato. But now, oh my goodness, yeah,
Nathan
definitely
goes too deep. Assassin's got the gap.
Yeah, oh my goodness, down to about half a second now. As I think Nathan maybe not feeling as comfortable on these intermediate tires as Passassin is here at the end of this race, but still able to hold on to that lead position with Passassin trailing behind in second. But now with no help of DRS, with no help of, well, yeah, only ERS to work for and fuel mix, who managed the mix better going into this wet weather. As you can see the gap closing up like crazy as Stewart does retire from this session after not having the race he was hoping for, getting an early start to next week, I believe, as he's not going to be qualifying and not getting any points for the Mercedes team. Now Mivako and Cruz oh so close to one another here as they're going into the hairpin. They're going to try to battle it out. Mivako trying a switchback move on Cruz here, as I think they're still going to go side by side here going into the final corner, but I think Cruz is going to hold on to that position as you don't really see a side-by-side battle there all that much. But now they're going to be going still side-by-side going into turn 1. Who's going to get the better of the position? It looks as though for now it's Cruz, but Mivako's there. Oh my goodness, what a showing here as Mivako gets the inside line going into turn 2, as you can see there, and I think he is going to take that P6 away from Cruz, but not without a fight, as Cruz is still staying very close. And is still anybody to play for. Cruz launches himself down the inside there and takes that position right back from Mivako.
They touch wheels.
Yep, and Mivako gets a little bit of a tank slapper, which is all Cruz needed to hold on to that P6. But honestly, I think that's really only going to last maybe till the end of the lap, until Mivako pushes right back at him. But now, between Passassin and Nathan JB, I think Nathan now starting to get a little bit more comfortable on those intermediate tires, as the gap is now up to over a second.
Yep, Passassin might be, I'd say he's bided his time, but Nathan JB with a lot of energy left, and Passassin just push it. But look at Dark and Jordan, up 12 positions each, even Passassin up 11 spots. Letting strategy play a huge part in their success here in the race.
Yep, and well, there we go. Yep, I'm putting that up just so everybody at home is watching. As you said, Jordan and Dark up 12 spots, running the it seems like, I mean, at least as of right now, the GOAT strategy, starting on the hard tires, riding their way into the intermediates. And getting a pretty solid showing for them, barring any incidents here. Is of course it's only lap 23 out of 28. Anything can happen, and I've said it before this race. Expect the unexpected.
You said it while we were racing, and then all of a sudden it rained. I don't want to say nothing, but maybe.
Well, no. I mean, I'm gonna knock on wood here, as I don't want to be jinxing any drivers here on the final 5 laps of the Grand Prix. But still, I'm keeping an eye on this battle between Cruz and Ivaco, because it's just so exciting watching these two duking it out, battling it out for P6, P7, Mercedes v Ferrari, as we love to see. Now Vito, I think, wants to get involved with this battle as well. So are we going to see a Mercedes v Ferrari v Red Bull for P6 to 8 by the end of the race? Hang on, is this the real life Formula 1, or is this the ISRL Division 2 Grand Prix here?
Oh, well, it's all for 5th place. I mean, 6th place rather, but
it's still a good haul of points.
Absolutely.
For your driver standings, for your constructors, and even for that shared constructors, which is something we've brought on here today. So I think we've got some eyes from other tiers just watching on with great anticipation to see where drivers here are going to finish and how that's going to affect the rankings in this shared constructors championship. Because now even
breathing down Nathan's back now.
Oh, let's actually switch back to this battle for the lead. I haven't shown it nearly as enough love on the stream, but now as we're down to half a second, this is where things are going to get down to crunch time on lap 24 out of 28, going through turn 1, turn 2. Look how close they are to one another. But it looks as though for now the advantage is still in Nathan JB's court, as he's been able to hold on to that P1 and keeping that gap. Well, as much as Passassin's been closing it up, he's been closing it up but unable to even challenge for an overtake. So I think kudos goes to Nathan JB for a solid drive here, other than the first few laps that I think it just took him a little bit longer to get used to the intermediates. He's been able to make it work for him, but hang on, Ivaco and Cruz once again duking it out. I'm taking a look at that quickly, and Ivaco gets the overtake done. So up into 6th, Cruz falls down into 7th, but I'm going to switch back to this battle for the lead as they're going to go down the back straight. But I think these are the two closest battles on track, at least from what I can see with my timing boards here.
Assassin can't reel him in.
Oh, well, that's the thing. I think Nathan just has a bit more of a straight line speed type setup, which is just allowing him to pull away just enough. And if I'm looking at the different onboards, okay, they've got about the same with ERS, and they're both using it very similarly, but it's just a matter of can Assassin close up enough. And the conditions now are looking very treacherous here on lap 25 out of 28. As the rain has really picked up here, it's still seeing that no standing water on the racing line. So it looks as though it is still intermediates, but we might see a bit of a changeover period once again. But I think a lot of the drivers are just going to tough it out on the intermediate tires. And because, of course, on lap 25 out of 28, there's no point in pitting for a wet weather for full wets, even if it is time for the full wet.
Lorenzo's off, completely off.
Oh no, definitely off, completely missing that braking point there, going into that very sharp left-hander. I'm not too sure if that was just battling it out, or if he just completely missed the braking point, started sliding, and lost the car. But he gets back on track and continues on his way, but losing out on a lot of time that he was trying to close up to Irish Nude Potato in the process. But now, Assassin having a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of that swooping right-hander down the back straight, so unable to close up enough to push for an overtake here on lap 25, so might need to leave it for one more lap here. But still keeping the tenths of a second. I think Assassin's really pushing as hard as he can on those intermediate tires, because I'm seeing a whole bunch of tank slappers here from the likes of Assassin. But hang on, crucially elsewhere down the circuit, here comes Vito, closing up on Cruz, gonna make a lunge down the outside as Cruz defends down the inside, but Vito trying to switch back here. But Cruz is just able to get the slightly better traction on the exit, as he will keep that P7, but down to now 3-4 tenths now. It's really a matter of how long, as I think Cruz is struggling just that tiny little bit more than Vito is on these intermediate tires. Of course, some drivers have a little bit more pace on the wet weather conditions than others. So we're gonna see potentially a little bit, maybe a few overtakes on track based on that. But of course, with no help of DRS, it makes it that much harder and relies that much more on your ERS management, I would say.
Assassin not really managing that ERS right now. It's just chucking everything he can at Nathan JB.
Yeah, well, that's it looks as though that is the case. And now, crucially, now the gap between Nathan JB and Assassin, it's up to over a second now, 1.1. So I think Assassin, I think Nathan JB just has that tiny little bit more pace in these in the wet weather. Because of course, in the dries, we were seeing Assassin closing that gap like it was nobody's business. But of course now with the inters, you can see there once again with the onboard, sliding around that hairpin exit, and well, nope, takes that last corner very well, but I think just unable to get the pace he was hoping for to close up the gap on Nathan JB. But now we're on the penultimate lap here, finally. Let's jump to Cruz and Vito as they're battling it out. Is this going to be the lap that Vito's going to get the overtake on Cruz, get forced to the outside, but still hangs it around? They're going side by side into the final corner, and I think it is Vito who's going to keep that position. But for how long? Look at that. Cruz now getting the better pace, getting that overtake back on Vito. But now into turn one, I think we're going to see Vito fight right back here. And yes, that is the case. But closing very, very close. He can throw a blanket onto those cars. And I'm sure with the wet weather, the drivers would love to have a blanket right now just to dry up. But they'll get that after the race. But still, Cruz holding on to that P7. Solid battling between the two drivers here.
Lorenzo's car's in AI and just being lapped. It's just not moving off the racing line for the leaders.
Oh no, that's not what you want to see. Now, is this just a case of did we see? I didn't see any pop-up there, but of course I'm keeping up with all the action. Did you see any pop-up of Lorenzo leaving the session?
No,
or
he has
possibility of.
He has it paused. He has it paused. It says he's in AI.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I was a little bit worried there of having left the session, because of course, if you are gonna want to be retiring early, just dive into the pits, retire in the pits, so that way your car doesn't get into anybody's way. But now we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Oh my goodness, that was Synchro having a moment and getting back on track, having a bit more of a tank slapper there for good measure, but losing out on a lot of time in the process. But now will continue on his way as we are starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's Nathan JB in the lead, Assassin in second, with Dark, a surprise potential podium showing for him, as he's got a 2.2 second gap to AJ Wuhan, and I think here with a lap to go, barring any incidents, I think this might be, potentially could be all she wrote for the podium. But
Assassin doing all he can, but he can't bring that gap down.
No, I think where it mattered most, just not enough ERS, not enough fuel management. I think Assassin's strategy was try to close that gap and gain the positions right from the right in the dries, but then try to hold on to it come the wets. But that didn't quite play out for him. Is now he didn't get that lead, or didn't quite build the gap enough as he was hoping for come the pit stops, which was pretty much all Nathan JB needed. But now we've got another yellow flag here in Sector 1 into Sector 2. I don't think that's anything to be worried about. Maybe just a little bit of a tank slapper here. As Vito still closing up to Cruz. They've been battling it out all race. And are we going to see a battle here in the final lap? As I think now the leaders are just finishing. It's Nathan JB taking the victory here in China, with Assassin getting the second place on the podium. And look at that, that's the Red Bull of ISRL Dark taking P3 with AJ in fourth. But hang on with this battle, are we going to see a lunge into the hairpin? No, Vito will not make the move, as I think he's just gonna settle for where he is, barring any incidents. Hoping Cruz maybe has a tank slapper, but with a corner to go, I don't think that's the case. As with this battle, it's still gonna be Cruz in 7th, Vito in 8th, Laparta coming around here in 9th. Now in 9th, V-Mark finishing in 10th, but will the real DC overtake on penalties? No, not enough. Krishna here coming in 12th, as now, yep, he does cross the line in 12th, with Mats in 13th. Will he make a bit of a move here? I don't think so. Nope, took a few more penalties. Oh my goodness, Synchro had a bit of a moment through the final corner. D-Mort's overtaking Mats on penalties to go up into 13th. So Mats falling down to 14th, Synchro in 15th, and not having the race he was hoping for. A little bit of a missed strategy call for the AlphaTauri driver of Irish Nude Potato. He did pit when it was the right time, but put on another set of medium tires, so had to pit once again. So not the but finishing in 16th, so no points for Irish Nude Potato here in this race. But oh my, what a race that was!
Absolutely, master strat call by Dark here. And Jordan as well. Let me try and get these gentlemen.
That's the thing. Oh my goodness, incredible strategy by Dark, by Jordan, as who said. But I mean, of course, qualifying on pole and finishing the races first isn't really much. You know, normally might not be much of a talking point. But I still want to give a shout out to Nathan JB for having a masterclass race. Of course, with knowing the pace Assassin has. And still able to hold on to that win from pole. He takes the victory here at the Chinese Grand Prix, with Assassin coming in 2nd. Dark rounding out the podium, as we said, after qualifying in 15th here, with AJ Wuhan going from a 4th to 4th. Jordan from 17th to 4th rounds out the top 5, with Mivako, Cruz, Vito, Laparta, and Mark rounding out the top 10. Then, of course, we have the real CRL Real DC in 11th, Krishna in 12th, D-Mort's in 13th, ODD Mats in 14th, Synchro in 15th, Irish Nude Potato in 16th, Lorenzo in 17th, and Stewart and Cohen taking 18th and 19th after DNFing and retiring early on in the session. And it looks as though we have Dark, who's just joined in for the podium interviews. Dark, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Perfect. So I mean, I'm gonna start off by congratulations on the podium. Was that a strategy call that you had planned right from the get-go with qualifying, in terms of maybe sacrificing qualifying for a more optimal race strategy?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, from the beginning, I knew that the softs wouldn't last long. So with the rain as well predicted in the race, I just thought, well, I'm gonna try. If I don't make it to the top 10 with the mediums, I'll stay out of it and try with the hards to go until the rain comes. And it paid off.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. Now, of course, us in the commentators booth, I'll be honest, we didn't quite get much info. We had, I mean, I personally had no idea rain was coming. So when I was seeing you do laps, just staying out, were those, like, how worn were those hard tires near the end of the stint? And was it something you were considering maybe just biting the bullet and doing that extra pit stop just to get on a fresher set of slicks?
Well, when I pitted for the Inters, I had like more than 80% on, I think, all of the tires. And that was actually what I wanted. I was always spamming Jeff for weather reports, and once he said there were like 5 minutes to rain, then 15, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to pit. And then he said, I saw the clouds coming, and then, well, I just gambled it, and it paid off again.
Yeah, you're known for starting when you have to start at the back. You've been known to throw on those hards to just kind of feel out the field and just kind of move up. But this was, I believe, Monkeys called it the God Strat, and yeah, it worked out perfectly for you.
Thank you.
Yep. So Nathan, are you here with us? Can you hear us?
I'm here.
Perfect. So from pole to victory, from pole to the win, congratulations on that. Talk us through a little bit of the race here in terms of the strategy, just with the changeable conditions. How do you feel about that race?
Buzzing. I'm very happy. Yeah, my plan was to start on the mediums into the top 10, but my mediums I was terrible. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna, because I saw the times and I knew I could get pole. So setting .2s I think in practice. I think I put a pretty good lap in, even though I was a little bit cautious. And my tyre was pretty good, so I wanted to do a soft hard until the rain came. And yeah, it went smooth. Soft couldn't have gone any. Soft stint couldn't have gone any better. Pulled away by like 4 or 5 seconds within a couple of laps, and then pitted for hards and just saved my ERS until the end, where I pushed Dark and Jordan, I think it was, just before the rain hit. Because I knew they were going to stay out until the rain hit, so I had to get ahead of them.
Yeah, now I do want to ask, when the changeover period happened, were you feeling comfortable on those intermediate tires right from the get-go, or were you a little bit iffy on them for the first few laps?
For the first, definitely the first lap, I was struggling a lot. It was just weird because you do so many laps in the dry and then you suddenly go into the wet. It's a completely different dynamic, so I had to adjust as I kept. So each braking zone I had to adjust, figuring out which is the best one. But yeah, it was a challenge, but it was fun.
Yeah, towards the end of the stint there, towards the end of the race rather, Assassin could always get within about, I think the lowest I saw it was 3/10, but he ended up just pulling it out. It's really hard to pass here without DRS, especially with raining conditions, so pretty solid.
Yeah, I can never get that
lap.
The long right-hander down. I never got a good exit.
It's a struggle here, as we all know as drivers, just to, like I said, pass, but the rain. And everybody kept the cars pointing in the right direction too. As you guys were absolutely pushing it too, you could see each other. You just pushed each other lap after lap after lap after lap. But it was a good race, and we enjoyed that up here in the booth. So thank you for that, and congrats on the win.
Thanks, man. You had me sweating, Assassin. Jesus.
I was getting frustrated after I just couldn't cut that gap down near the end.
I noticed. I think I pulled like over a second gap on the last 2 laps, and that made me a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, but Assassin, I wanted to ask, because you had, honestly, looking at the race, you had so much pace on the dries, but of course once the changeover period happened, you got oh so close so many times, but just wasn't able to get that final overtake done. I mean, I'm gonna ask just generally, what happened there? Was it just a matter of ERS not being there, or fuel, or was it just the wet weather struggling a little bit for you?
Oh no, I had plenty of fuel. ERS I was low on, but I think it was just I was faster than Nathan in some corners than other corners, like the long right-hander I was talking about. He gained like a few tenths on me there. Just couldn't get a good exit, and I didn't want to spin because I'll still take a second if I couldn't get the win. But, I mean, yeah.
There's the element of dirty air, even with the rain.
Yeah,
but
now
Canada is next, so.
Yeah.
Strong back for me.
Why is it on the calendar?
Yep, coming up soon. But of course, Assassin, from P13 up into P2, and you were just flying from the start of the race. Now, of course, when you did have the lead, I figure you were probably hoping to grow that. Were you looking at, just in terms of the strategy with the dries? Was that your plan right from the get-go? Just qualify below the top 10, push into the lead on that different strategy, and just grow the pit stop gap? Or take us through that.
No, I didn't plan on qualifying 13th. I just had a not great qualifying session. It wasn't a great lap on the mediums, and I was one of the only mediums. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, if I wanted to qualify up in the front on softs, I would have, but I knew it's not a good strategy, so I didn't. Just gonna take my lumps and qualify on a better tire, better strategy.
It worked out. Your name's certainly tossed in the ring for Driver of the Week this week, as well as Dark. You guys absolutely nailed your strategies, and Jordan as well. I want to mention Jordan, and he did the same thing as Dark. Came up the grid, finished 5th. So all these guys doing bold strategy calls, but it paying off. You like to see that. And again, congrats to the podium. great race. We loved it up here in the booth, so appreciate it.
Yep,
Thank you.
congratulations. But I think that's just about gonna do it here for us in the Tier 2 stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the race as much as we did here in the commentators booth. But don't go anywhere, because in about 35 minutes' time, we're gonna have Division 1's race here around the Chinese Grand Prix. And if Division 3 and Division 2 are anything to go upon, it's gonna be an exciting race. So make sure to tune into that. But for us here at Division 2, up until next week, that's going to do it for us. So for all of you, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next time. Alright.
Alright, so, yeah, Canada. Oh, I love that track.
I do too, but I've got a bit of a bias.
Yeah, but, I mean, like, I'll see Nathan next week, or I won't, but...
Honestly, like, I hope so.
The weakest track for me that's on the entire calendar right now is France, and that's in a few weeks. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, it's just the weakest track, but it doesn't mean I'm bad at it. I'm just don't practice it. I could get that. I'm fast around there, but I'm just not like where I am, like tracks I practice in. Every track is a strong track for me now, because Vietnam I'm loving now, since I have a league race and I'm actually practicing it. So all 26 tracks in the entire game. 26, yes, the short tracks too. Yep.
Alright. GG's.
Congrats,
Yeah,
guys.
man.
Yeah, have a
See
good
ya.
one.
So would that mean like I got 40 points last week and 33 points this week? I'm probably still leading in the championship. Oh wait, 34 because of fastest lap.
Yeah, I guess
Also,
so.
pretty proud of
Not
that
sure.
fastest lap too on the hard tire. I guess we'll see when the standings come out, but yeah.
Yeah,
I'm planning on
see
taking
that
this
on
first
I'm gonna
American
go.
champion. All right. How do you leave the party? Because I had to be kicked last time.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah, you're
when you
good.
go into the party screen, you can just hit leave this party, similar to the old way.
Yeah, I mean that'll just like leave the party, not get me like out of the party. Yeah.
Oh, that I don't know. I'll have to.
Yeah, if you just want to kick me or something, you can do that. Alright. See y'all next week.
All right. See you next week.
See you in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
All right. 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, I'm just thinking here. What are the odds that our in-house weatherman purposefully didn't give us the weather report?
Who's our in-house guy?
I thought we had an in-house guy, or is he not in the Div 2
It was
anymore?
Chris, but Chris
Oh,
is in
right.
Tier 3 now.
Right, so we don't have an in-house weatherman anymore. Damn it. I forgot.
Nope, but Nick does.
Yep. You got 2. Oh man.
I'm sweaty.
No? Alright.
I am
I got
sweaty.
tier 1. Yeah. Sweaty. Got tier 1. Then I got CRL tier 1.
Same.
Yeah, what's the track this week? Well,
It's Australia.
oh, right. Oh yeah, because they're just following the real life
I
order,
really
right?
don't want to do a full calendar. You can't get many seasons in with a full calendar.
No.
Like they started like right after like we did, and they're on season like 2.
Yeah, plus the other
It's too
thing,
much.
well, I mean, I guess the other thing with the full calendar is it kind of, like already with I think the 18 track calendar we had last season,
It's too long.
near the end of it, I was just kind of like, okay, I need a bit of a break.
I feel like 16 is too much. I wish we had 15, but fuck it. 16 it is. I hated today's race and I want to fucking die. I didn't get a fucking single fucking point.
No, that's rough. That was my life last week. If I mean, it might not console all that much, but that was I went through that last week.
It is what
So
it
I
is,
know,
you know.
yeah, I know the feel, but you know that just means you can come out with a vengeance for Canada.
Well, I'm gonna get off for a bit. Do some grocery shopping or some shit. I'll talk to y'all in a little bit.